Alright, testing mic. Looks like it's going. A little quiet. Alright, one more test. Hey, there we go. Alright, let's start this. Quick. Alright. This is just going to be a really quick stream because my setup is a little different and I'm making sure everything's good, everything works. Yeah, so let's see where this goes. Also, I should probably turn the music down a little bit. Yeah, there we go. Alright, I'm going to leave it there. So here's the shot. This is going to be a very quick camera solve. There's not a lot of movement, and a shot like this can tend to trick a few beginners in SYNTHEYES because you get a fast solve and you see where the points are sitting in space, but they're not always the most correct because there is not a lot of movement to fully calculate where every point should actually be. So here, I'm gonna track like the world's fastest points in the world, the world's fastest points in the world, and oh, that song's kind of irritating that's playing. I hope that can't really be heard too much. I don't know. We'll see. If people complain about the music, then we'll figure something out. Alright. So we're going to track really fast points, and then we're going to quickly get the perspective on this building, put a box for this building, project our trackers, and that should make it so that we have good perspective all over the shot and a good focal length. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'm going to really fast dot down a couple points. I'm going to hold... let's just go to the tracker room. So I'm going to hold Control, or C, sorry. Just place down a couple trackers. And I'm actually going to turn on Auto Key right here. I'm going to make it so it places a key every, I don't know, 10 frames. Just so that I'm not spamming and making a key every few frames. My background changed. Yes, it did. Now that I've gotten a new monitor, I'm not using that massive ultra-wide that I used to have. So I have more space on my desk for my camera, so I don't have a tripod here. I don't have a separate... I used to have my piano stand holding up like a plank, a shelf from one of my shelves upstairs. That used to hold my Cintiq tablet and my keyboard and my camera. But now I have space because I have two normal size monitors. Alright. So now that I have this tracker, I've turned on auto key to key every 10 frames so that it refreshes its pattern that it is tracking from. Because I'm gonna spam a bunch of trackers all over the shot right now. I'm not auto tracking. I'm not a fan of auto tracking. So I'm just gonna be carefully picking where I want my trackers rather than just running an auto. Bring that up a little bit. And let's go up here. Control clicking, or sorry, C, clicking with C, create. This part over here doesn't look too grainy. And I want to get some of this wall over here because I want to be able to project on this wall and this wall. They are the most important points in the shot, in this case. And let's get some on this sign. I'm not being too careful because the shot is not too crazy. Let's skip ahead to see what kind of motion we're dealing with again. Alright, Control click. Oh, I keep saying Control click. It's C. C for create. Okay, what about up top? Oh, we can get some stuff up top. I'm worried that this tracker is going to be bouncing around the patterns, so I'm actually going to do these points later manually. And let's see, all of the lights over here look fantastic. All right, so now that I have these, I'm just going to hit play. I placed all these trackers in the first frame. By default, you're tracking forwards. And all these trackers should be good. I trust them. So I'm going to select all the trackers and hit plus on my number pad, which will lock them all. And if you don't want to hit plus on your number pad, you can come up and hit the padlock. And now, when you play, they are not going to retrack every time. If you make a tracker, let's say you track a point like this, you go back, you make another tracker, you track that new point, they're both tracking until you lock them. I'm going to delete those. I'm going to just monitor a couple points here. I didn't want to put too much points on the leaves here because I was afraid that these were going to have some overlapping details, like twigs in front of twigs, and that I would have to fix a lot later if I did it all manually. So I got rid of those. This here looks pretty cool. I'm getting messages on Slack. Okay. So this point's a little funny. Actually, it's pretty good. I just noticed there's a little leaf poking towards the camera. So I was worried it was going to push the tracker around, but it didn't have the contrast to do it. Ooh, right over here looks pretty nice. I like this. And I know this is going to track, so I'm just kind of looking around for my next point as I'm tracking the current one. Oops, go back here, plus lock it. Again, I know that's going to track. I'm just taking a look around for the next point. Just try to speed myself up. Actually, I didn't see anything on that one. Again, there's loads and loads of detail, but you don't really want the most skewed lines. You want some very recognizable patterns. Okay. Let's get some stuff up on the light here. Don't know why I didn't put trackers up here. This is a pretty nice spot to track. Or at least to track unsupervised. I hope the shot isn't too boring. Occasionally I like doing really simple shots, but once again, this stream is just a quick test to make sure everything's running well. Also, I hope things aren't too tiny on the stream, because my monitor now has a higher resolution at HD. So I think it's 1440p by 2160 resolution. So some UI stuff might be smaller here. Might be a bit too small for people to read. Not too sure about that yet. Ooh, what a simple building point. Nice. Never boring? You're home. Looks great, Akam. Awesome. That's great, because I like having the extra screen space for myself. I really hated tracking in 1080 on all the past streams, because I used to work on an ultra wide 3440 by 1440. So I really missed the extra space. Stoplights? Wait, there are stoplights? Beta? Stoplights? I don't know what you're talking about. Got 2 points going here. Lock. Oh, we got a little sliver up here. This is great. Get something to fill out the top corner. Once again, it's nice to, it's really, really good to get points around the corners of your shot, because that is where the distortion is at its most intense. And the more points that you have over there to help calculate that, the happier you are going to be. Man, I got these new headphones specifically for streaming, because I've been having audio come out my displays, and it's been feeding back into the mic. I got these really cheap headphones, but it turns out they're crap. Need to get some new ones. Ooh, bottom corner, right by the corner of the shot. A little bit of noise here, but that's not too bad. If you want to get rid of some of the noise, you can hit P on your keyboard. That is image preparation. And then head on over to filtering. Filtering is where you can blur your shot, add high pass, or do a little bit of noise reduction. I find, and I've heard this somewhere too, and I've been playing around with it, I find noise reduction doesn't do much beyond 1. So I'm just going to turn on 1, and hey, some of the noise is gone. So now that I have that, oh, let's let the shot cache while I check my messages real quick. I think I have to work. I don't like that. Okay, I'm gonna... Oh, while I solved this a bit early, I'm gonna undo that. Okay, so... I think we're good. I think this is all the trackers I'm gonna put for this shot. Actually, let's get a couple tree points. Just a couple quick tree points so we can better see where... Ooh, that tracker jumped. If your tracker is jumping... Oh, and I can't turn off these points because I have auto key on. So I want to turn off these black keys at the bottom. But I can't because auto key is restricting me. I'm going to delete this point, and I'm going to make a new tracker. I'm going to make its search area a lot smaller so it doesn't jump to another one. And I'm going to right click and clear this key. Now I can place my own keys, and it's small enough that it is not jumping. Become Sweetwater. You got everything, Akam. Akam, could you send that to me on Discord so that I can keep it? Because I'll lose it in the chat history. I want to see it later. Just driving and listening and interjecting at stoplights. Oh, that's why you said, okay. If you crash due to me, I'ma feel real bad. Right. Oh, I kind of like the music on this one. I hope it doesn't get too loud. I'm gonna turn the volume up slightly. I like really harmonic synths. Okay, so we have these trackers. I'm not gonna worry about tracking too much of that tree anymore. I don't feel like it. I have extra headphone and I've never oh. What privilege. I need extra headphones. I had headphones and then I stepped on them and broke them. They weren't even good headphones. They were like 10 years old. Check the link. I don't want to check for headphones just yet. Just because it's not super related to anything on the stream. Because I want to get through the stream as quick as I can. Because this is just the test. I gotta go out and shop. I gotta get new stuff. I gotta get more stuff. More cables and whatever. If you like, I'll send me headphones? Dude, I can't ask you to do that. I also gotta do my own research on headphones. We'll see. I don't want to make you send me headphones I won't use. If I don't use them, you know. Why am I tracking more points? I said I'm done. You've distracted me with the free headphones. Alright, so these points are done. I'm going to leave it here. Let's head over to the Solver tab. Alright, so solving this. Usually, this is where people would just go or Shift G, and it is solved now. And this is where people would start to try to line it up, straighten it around, you know, rotate, pull. They would try to orient the scene around and make it look good, maybe with a box or something. But I'd rather work on the perspective of the lens and get the scene oriented and then make a box and start to project some points, make sure it's super perfect. So I'm going to actually, what am I going to? Oh yeah, we're in the lens tab. I'm going to control view, turn off lens grid. I don't really want to see that at the moment. And let's go add line. So first, I'm going to drag a line for what I think is the y-axis. I shouldn't have said I think. This is the y-axis. Oops, I right-clicked and cleared it. Click drag, and when you let go, you'll get this menu. And I'm going to go on Y. And then I'm going to make one that's for our Z. On Z. There we go. So now all the other lines that we're going to place are going to be parallel lines. So for the Z line, I'm going to find these other axes and parallel to Z. Parallel. And right up top, massive Z line. I always have the habit of making sure that Z points towards the camera. Just me. You can have Z pointing this way, X, you know, X pointing whatever way you want, Y pointing, you know, whatever. It's your choice. I primarily work in Maya, so I'm going Z towards me, X that way. Parallel to Y. Parallel. And is there any more, like, can I clearly make out the... My new monitor has this HDR effect going on, so it's a little bit more contrasty on my main screen than it is on the stream. Kind of struggling to see this. That's something to keep in mind. Oh, it turns out that's not even... Turns out that's not really the most visible thing anyway. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to... I don't know if I can fully trust that I'm going to plant a Y line perfectly there. So I'm just going to leave the lines where they are with this. Or for at least for the Y-axis. Alright, so now let's just get some parallel X lines. And you notice we have a main line for Y and a main line for Z. You don't want a third main line. SYNTHEYES doesn't like it. I don't know why. But we can do parallel lines. So X parallel to X. Just don't put a main line anywhere. Parallel to X. Alright, something I should have also done earlier too is, and I don't really trust what this is going to give me personally, but if I calculate distortion, and Shift G to solve. What did that give me? 0.005 if I turn on that lens grid I hit earlier. So we're in the positive distortion. It's starting to bow outwards, or technically the footage is bowing inwards. If I lock to the camera in perspective, you can see it's kind of barreling. And barreling, you know, barrel distortion, where it kind of comes, it forms the shape of a barrel. Or the pin cushion, where you kind of have that pin cushion distortion. This is negative, the more common distortion, this negative distortion. So I'm gonna undo all that, get back to where I was. There we go. I'm gonna trust this distortion. I'm gonna turn calculate off. Now let's go back to lens. And I'm going to hit align and watch these, and I'm gonna hit F3 actually, look at it over here, so we can watch our grid jump away. Where our two main lines intersect up in this corner, that's going to be our origin. So you're gonna see this snap up here. So I'm gonna hit align. There you go. I think that looks pretty good. The horizon line is way out of view, which is expected. Okay. So now that the perspective should be amazing, let's quickly move the whole scene around and just look at what the points are doing. So here you can see me standing on the street, our light, and our buildings. Our building points actually are looking pretty good. So let's look at points that should be flat to each other. This. So this point, this top point, you know, should be back here. This is an instance of, again, there's not a whole lot of movement in the camera for SYNTHEYES to figure out the exact depth of where that point should be. So that's kind of the imperfection of your tracker bumping around, and you know, it's pixels, it's noise, it's distortion. There's a number of things as to why these points aren't perfectly flat to each other. But now that we've done the perspective for the shot earlier, oh, this moved down. Oh yeah, it moved down because I moved my scene earlier. So I'm gonna go whole. I'm gonna bring the scene up to where I'm kind of standing somewhere around here. And let's make a box for a building and project these points. So I'm gonna go magic wand. There we go. And in this view, I'm gonna hit the weird slash button under the backspace key for wireframe. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, right click, view. Oh, wait. Outline. Show meshes, solid meshes. Oh, okay, it's called solid meshes. I thought it would be like wireframe. You could click that and you'll go into wireframe. All right. So now taking a quick peek over here. Gonna go view, turn on OpenGL camera view. So now there is some nice anti-aliasing on the mesh. So I can see some wrong stuff going on here, I believe. So if we look at this column here, or the corner, here's our line, and then it continues up here, it's off a bit. Actually, this and this look off by the same distance. That might actually just be how the building was made. These bottom columns might be slightly thicker. Oh, maybe, oh, they are. Look, right here. And then this one sticks over to the side. Okay, cool. So, okay, weird. It's so minor, like why would they do that? Okay, so now that I have a box there, I'm gonna go ahead and start grabbing a couple points I want to project. You know, these ones in the windows and this point up here, like they're not on the same plane. I'm actually just gonna track a couple quick points on the actual surface of the brick. This point's a little jittery, but it's okay. I could get this little white line right here. It's pretty close to the brick. This corner. Get this one over here. That looks good. Akam, Kelvin, after projecting the tracker, how do you export for nuke? Or are you delete the box? After projecting the tracker, how do I export for nuke? Oh, I mean, honestly, I would just go up to export. I'm certain you probably did this already. Nuke. Current, I guess, or 5.1. I, for some reason, have a habit of going to 5.1. I don't know why. I just go for that one. And then that's really just it. And you could choose to use this box in nuke if you want. I kind of don't. I like to make my own geo within nuke because it's more flexible that way, because nuke has its own little handles and controls for its box nodes or for its geometry nodes. More control than you're going to have with using geo out of SYNTHEYES. But yeah, I'll just take the camera and that's it. The camera, and of course you'll get your trackers for nuke as well. I just take those two things and that's it. What happened when you delete the box? Oh, for the projection? What happens if I project into this box and delete it? Oh, okay. You'll see it in 1 second. I'm about to do it. Absolutely nothing happens. Yeah, literally nothing happens at all. Let me get a point over here. And let's get another point right here on this part of the wall. And I think we're good. I think we're done. There we go. That one shut off. Okay, so I'm going to grab a few of these points that I put up front. Maybe I'll grab one of these. I don't really trust these ones, kinda. They're not really on the same depth of the wall. Just going to do it anyway. This one, I shouldn't. I know this is slightly different from this part of the column, but I'm going to project this one anyway. And now back here, I'm going to try not to project too many points onto this wall, just because the more that geo is at an angle, the more room for error there is for when you project your tracker. It's kind of like if you skew an angle so much and then try to project a point, like depending on where your tracker is per pixel, that could mean the difference of a few inches to a few feet of where that point landed on that very side angle mesh. So I don't like to project too many on a mesh if we're at a very harsh angle like this. Alright, so I'm going to... Actually, let's get one more extreme. I'm going to get rid of this one and go up to here. Alright, so I'm going to project these now. Go up to shot. Drop on the mesh. And I'm going to go to solver, make sure constrain is turned on, and go. So our shot didn't move at all, and that's great, because we know that our projection worked. And if we look over here, you could see we had this, and now that we forced the points, we had this. More of the points in between, we're able to figure out their depths a little bit better as well. So you can kind of see we have... This tree is in a weird spot. That shouldn't be there. This tree should be way in the background. But it doesn't really matter too much. What are these then? Oh, well this building should be a lot further back. So again, there's not a lot of depth for SYNTHEYES to figure out the depth of this tree and these objects here. Like these points, as far as SYNTHEYES is concerned, could be 2 kilometers away, 3 miles away, or whatever you want to say. and they could be like, 20, 30 feet away, like they kind of are now. Okay, so with this solve, I also, this should change slightly, I think, maybe. Yeah, so now that we forced these points, it also kind of had a ripple effect to our foreground points as well. Because when you tell points, hey, this is exactly where you need to be, that's giving SYNTHEYES a lot more information, and it'll kind of roll around the rest of your scene. Just be careful you don't project too many points. I actually don't even project as many as I did here usually. So now that we have this, I'm just gonna go ahead and start to clean this up. I'm gonna go F4. Oh, Faham, Akam, you were asking me, if I delete this cube, again, nothing happens. Those points, they all have position data for where they landed on that box. The box doesn't really mean anything at this point. It was just like a, hey, point, stop here, and then give yourself seed data. So yeah, I don't even need that box anymore. I'm gonna bring it back just because it looks cool. Gonna select it, 3D. Give it some divisions, make it look awesome. And now let's smooth the camera. This camera likely will not need a whole lot of smooth. If I zoom in on it, oh wow, there is quite a bit of jitter. Yeah, so there's SYNTHEYES by default does not do any smoothing on your camera, which I really like because I like having the control of smoothing. So I'm gonna go Solver, Filter Control, and here you can smooth your translation, this, your rotations, or your field of view, which if you have a zooming lens and things are jittering, you can smooth your zoom lens. Distance is usually for objects when they're bouncing forward and back from your camera. So I'm gonna go X, Y, Z for the path and apply. I'm not really gonna apply it anymore. I do have a little bit of bobby motion when I'm walking with the camera. So I'm gonna leave a bit of that and I'm gonna go reset. So now that you've smoothed the path, technically these trackers, your rotation, you smooth your path, so the camera has moved slightly, but the rotations have not been updated for that slight movement. So now I'm going to go to Refine, come down to Axis Locks, and I'm going to go Position Lock so that we don't resolve the path. And by the way, if you lock any of this, make sure you're on the first frame. If you're somewhere in the frame range and lock it, you'll see this thing animates on and off. So I'm going to undo that. There we go. Now turn it on in first frame. And we have the lock on, but we didn't load in this smooth path into this window for this lock to know what it's locking. So I'm going to, because this seed path value here, this is what this lock is looking at. But we don't have the smooth path in there. So I'm going to hit Get. There, you can see these numbers have updated, and now we have the full path loaded in. And now I don't need this. I'm gonna just double check. We have Refine, we have Constrain, and our locks are on, so go. So now that we have this, you can see our error has changed slightly at the bottom. Overall, our error is changed a little bit. And our error is 0.1. This is an absolutely incredible camera solve. Very easy camera solve. So this is done. I'm going to put a matrix in just so we can see what the space is doing because it's cool. There we go. So now you can see how perfect this the airspace of this camera is, and we got great perspective. Our focal length should be amazing. Actually, you know what I didn't do? I didn't change my film back. So the backplate, I have a preset for my Blackmagic camera, so I'm going to click this, and there it is. Okay. And let's look at what our focal length is now. 19. That's pretty reasonable. That's pretty reasonable for my camera. All right, so this is done. Really, really simple. If anybody has any questions, now's your chance, because I'm gonna close this off here pretty quickly. Again, this was just a quick test stream, and it seems like things have worked. All my tunes stopped.
You're ready to relax and find.
Oh, it's playing an ad. All right, so by the looks of it, there are no questions. I'm gonna go lens workflow, redistorted 2, hit OK. And now our distortion has been applied. Is my mic working? Oh, it is. Thought I did something funny to it. That looks awesome. All right, so nobody has any questions. So I am going to close this out. Throw this over to thanks for watching.